Hello, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to a special edition of the side tournament here for the Eidolon Express Grand Prix, the Hovercraft Cup Finals, as we have ScytheMarshall and JBrun here taking on head-to-head. These runners competed in a asynchronous tournament that was open to all runners of the Eidolon Express Grand Prix who did not advance to the Whale Cup, as well as any runner who was unable to sign up for the tournament initially. So we have they each ran a asynchronous seed in our three Eidolon Express Cup our Grand Prix flag sets, with ScytheMarshall winning the Mega Flare Rally, JBrun winning the Zantetskin Circuit, and a third runner, Taylor Swifting, won the Tsunami Open asynchronous seed, but was unfortunately unable to compete here tonight. So GG to them, and congratulations on winning that async. So we are here with JBrun ScytheMarshall to decide who will take home the Hovercraft Cup. I am Rowdy Sniper alongside Commander Leonhardt in the booth. We've got Xenocat tracking and Firebird Lover running the restream. And Commander, we are here with a Mega Flare Rally seed. How did we get to this?
Well, we thought of a lot of different ways. We might do this. We could do some die rolls. We could do a bunch of other things. But we ultimately decided to leave it up to you, the runners. So everybody that participated in the asyncs was allowed to vote. The more asyncs you did, the more we counted your vote. And we added it up, and you, the runners, decided that it should end with a Mega Flare. So if it goes terrible, it's all your fault.
And you have a lot of familiarity with the Mega Flare Rally, Commander, since you ran that quite a bit during both the Whale Cup and the Falcon Cup stages of this tournament.
Yes, I did. As you all might know from the Eidolon Express, you could ban a flag set of your choice, so you end up running a lot of the other two. And a lot of the people I faced off with turned out they banned Tsunami Open, so I did end up running a lot of Mega Flare. And you've got this first objective group, which has 6 objectives, one of which is always trade away the rat tail. You got to get 4 of those. You got objective group B, which is 3 bosses on the moon, the Vanilla Ribbon Room, the Masamune Altar, and the Cave Bahamut. Once you do one of those 2 sets, you get a super weapon. Once you do them both, you get the crystal and you can be on your way. And there's a separate group of objectives that are strictly bosses, which serves simply to boost XP, because every objective you complete increases your XP courtesy of the 5.0 flags.
And one of the wrinkles of this flag set is that we have a max party size of 3. We have K-Buy, and we have Permajoin, so the runners are going to be set with a very limited set of character options. I'm probably gonna have to lock those in fairly quickly. We also have the Sea Hero flag, which means that this Porum that we have to start, or Palom at the start here, is going to be with us for the entirety of this seed. Your thoughts on a Palom start?
My thoughts on a Palom start is that, particularly for Mega Flare, it puts a different spin on it. There's a common strategy to give the anchor character, which is automatically the hero, a low agility to let everyone work at RA1. That can be difficult to do with Sea Hero, but Palom doesn't have a lot of agility gains, and Mega Flare for 250 grand, you can turn that in and get yourself a curse ring. And Palom, thanks to his very strong wisdom stat and his bluff skill, can still function very well even with the curse ring. So it definitely puts a different spin on things. So I'll be interested to see if either of our runners go for that option.
Yeah, now these runners do start with the Darkness Crystal, so they will be able to go up to the moon from the start, and there is an incentive to do that because there is a new flag in the 5.0 alpha version of the randomizer that allows for removal of tier restrictions as far as the value of items. So that lunar subterrane is going to have its full maximum value, while the rest of the map is going to be capped at max tier 5. So they are going to likely be running and checking that lunar subterrane to see what gear they have, and that may influence parties' decisions depending on who shows up.
Yeah, it has definitely been my experience that runners do dive the moon. It's just a question of how much. Some get right down to the fork just shy of the ribbon room and immediately exit. Some take a quick trip over to the chest that's on the way to the altar, and some people dive into the Crystal Palace while they're checking bosses and get all the loot there.
Yeah, it's that question of, do you want to spend that extra time, or are you just happy with what you have? I think that is going to depend somewhat on what these runners find in their initial stage of their looting. But we will see here in just a few moments as we get ready to go on our way.
Yep. The other thing, though, is that it's max party 3 and permajoin, but it's tough to wait super long on those characters. In the early going, you've got Baron Inn, you've got Hobbs, and you've got the Moon character, thanks to that Darkness start. So most of the time, you end up picking your starting party out of those 3 characters. You find the 2 you're going to add, and you make the best of the situation. Ideally, for Paladin, you'd want, in my opinion, 1 White Mage and 1 Warrior. That gives you each of the 3 major food groups, as it were. But if those don't show up, like if there's no White Mage in the first 3, maybe you just have to take your 2 best and go on, or do you just take 1 and hope that you can find some key items that give you characters that are either easy to pick up, like a hook, or that it's an earth crystal in the Zophites or something that a leveled Paladin can get you through. That's something. Party comp is something else that's also rather interesting in Megaflare, given the party 3 restriction.
Yeah, and the flag set does allow for the possibility of either Fusoya or Cecil to appear in the seed, but they can only appear as the hero or the starting character. So if they don't show up initially at the start of the game, you're not going to get them. How much are you really hoping to find one of those 2 to help out with this palom, or are you pretty comfortable with one of the other options available as far as party members?
That is a very good question. I'm a big fan of Cecil, so I'm usually willing to take him. However, I understand a lot of other people are sometimes concerned about being able to get through ordeals and get him online. I would take a Cecil immediately. Fu, if I took him, I'm accepting that he's my White Mage. You can't really. You could we don't have. You know, you'd think I'd run this enough. No, we do have a Z fight. Yes.
Yeah, we do. Hey,
So if
it's the only flags with a guaranteed Z fight, so it's a little bit.
Yeah. Right. Tsunami is an either or, and Zentatsuken is not. So if I take Fu, I'm thinking about that Z fight, and I take another White Mage. We're asking for Reflect strats with a 3-person party. There might be other people that are more comfortable with that approach. I'm not sure I would feel too great with it. So if I'm taking a Fu, I'm counting that as my White Mage, and I'm looking for a Warrior to be my 3rd.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because reflect strats do require some good timing, and also, even though we don't have the fast ROM flag on for this, we are not running with the Whale Cup modifications to this. We are just running with the standard Mega Flare Rally from the Enterprise Cup and the Falcon Cup. You know, you really do have to worry about that timing as far as Zeromus just getting all those attacks in, and also respecting the fact that you're probably going to be having a nerfed Palom, so you're not getting as much value out of his spells.
Yeah, you really do. That's another thing too. You really do want. You don't want to be running that at a bad agility setup either, as you really want to get Zeromus down on reflect strats before he throws out an unnerved Big Bang. If you start having to go into recovery mode and resetting the black holes, it can be very difficult to get your footing back when all of your damage has to be reflected for the strategy.
Yeah, and if Fusoya or Cecil aren't available, then a lot of times runners have been very excited to see Edge or
Mhm.
Arcane. Edge in particular because of his ability to dart and take advantage of that heavy loot that they're finding on the lunar subterrane. Um, it's you know, I think that's one of those things where he opens up a lot of different options as far as with that versatility, serving as a way to get around Valvalis' spin, or just being a very strong melee attacker, knowing you're probably going to find at least one or two swords for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. A small bit of help too in that he gives you AoE. Less of a concern when you've already got Palom. I mean, you're not going to curse him right away. He'll get his level 2 elementals and his virus that can take care of it. So the flame's nice, but with a Palom on hand, it's not nearly as big a consideration. There are also a few places that he can sneak to great effect because we have S Pro on, which means you're only going to find tier 5 stuff in Kolkol's shop. So being able to steal, for example, Bacchus off of some of the Mad Ore chests is going to be useful.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of runners go without a white mage if they've got a strong melee attacking anchor. To great success many times. Using the old saying that the best defense is a good offense.
This is very true in this particular randomizer. I mean, we'll give a nod to Blink. Blink does some amazing things against some very rude bosses, but generally the answer is kill it dead before it hurts you more.
Yeah, and that's where that admin armor that you mentioned comes into play quite a bit. It's expensive. It's 500,000 cumulative gold that you have to turn into Agar, but we've seen that kind of be the game changer in this flag set. As far as who gets that first, and able to take advantage of the stat and the stat boost and the defensive benefits of it.
Yeah, and that can be another reason to loot the LST heavily once you get up there, is even if you're not going to use it right away, it sells nice. It gets you to that 500,000. So you generally are not going to get all the way there from the LST, but at least you can get closer. Typically, you're going to end up going underground and doing some looting before you get to your 5.
Yeah, and that's been interesting because especially as the runners have gotten deeper into the tournament, you've actually seen more looting. Where generally, runners have been able to get comfortable with a handful of things. Our other flag says Zantetskin Circuit, you're just basically looting the treasury. Um, we'll see what these runners do here, how heavy they loot, and where they go as they start off with an Edward here and a Dark Knight Cecil. So no Cecil, no Fu, but we do have Eddie, and that is a consideration.
Yeah, and both runners will take Edward. One of the things that really helps Edward out on this particular flag set, you mentioned the adamant armor available for 500,000, and that takes care of a lot of things for Edward. But we also, for a simple 100,000, get the spoon, and Edward can equip with a spoon. And adamant spoon work can be very much a thing. It can be a struggle in the Z fight because she's not going to have the hit points you want. But as far as getting you there, it can be a very powerful option.
And, even then, that's, like you said, we're not going to get to adamant armor money off of the lunar subterrane right away, but that spoon is still enough early power to push through that early game and get underground. So, double benefit there. You've got a guaranteed source of early offense that may or may not show up. We do have divergence here a little bit. ScytheMarshall going ahead and looting Eidolon Castle. The monster boxes here are in their vanilla locations and they are key item checks. So ScytheMarshall is avoiding them and getting that equipment and gold early on.
Nericad, Taylor Swifting was unable to join us for the race. Had something come up at the last minute. We hope everything's okay and congratulate them on how they did in the Tsunami Open Racing.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very unfortunate, but hoping everything's going well for Taylor. We do have our Scythemarshall who did win the Mega Flare Rally Async, as well as JBrun who won the Zentetskin Circuit. Well, you would say on paper, ScytheMarshall has the advantage of having won the Async. We've seen JBrun play these seeds very well in this tournament.
Absolutely. No slouch and expecting a good race. ScytheMarshall has found a couple of nice tier 5 items that we were talking about from shops so far. Has found an hourglass and a coffin. And on the moon, we have that ninja. Huh. I would do it in JBrun shoes. I'd take it. Say, White Mage, we don't need no stinging White Mage, but we'll see what JBrun does.
Looks like he is. So that's going to make finding Cure 3s out here very much a priority because the seed is a little squishy. Doesn't have a lot of defense, at least until one of the characters gets that adamant armor, and HP totals are going to be relatively low until that edge. Other than that edge.
Yes, we're gonna hope we can find Cure 3s. There is most likely a White Mage somewhere in this seed. We just didn't have time to wait on them, and because of that, the safety check that would guarantee Cure 3 somewhere is not triggered. There's a chance, though. I'm saying there's a chance.
Yeah, hopefully, we'll see what JBrun is able to acquire here. Does acquire a Stardust Rod here on the Lunar Subterranean. That'll help out a lot in the early game as well, and also negate the effects of the Curse Ring on Palin's spellcasting stat, his Wisdom. So very nice find there.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to say top that for a year finding in here. If I try really hard, I might come up with something, but I'd have to work at it. Or something I'd rather see in these runners' shoes going through the moon than that Stardust Rod.
Yeah, probably about the only thing.
That apple, not as
bad.
much as the Stardust Rod, but that apple to deal with that Edward hit point issue I was talking about earlier is also a very nice find.
Yeah, normally these runners would be ecstatic to have something that expensive to sell, but when you can put 100 max HP on an Edward, that might be worth using instead of selling. And there's a ninja sword as well. I was going to say about the only other thing I could think of that these runners might want to see is a weapon or two for edge. ScytheMarshall says no to the ninja.
All right, then. ScytheMarshall holding out for a White Mage, apparently. We have some divergence. Have you considered a second Stardust Rod? And by considered, I mean you could sell it.
Yeah, because one other option these runners could have as far as healing and offense is Iridia. Iridia can use Asura, and 67% of the time is a darn good White Mage. Other times that life 1 base rolls and you're a little bit disappointed. But that is risky, and she has even less HP than Palom, so that you would really run into that survivability problem as well.
Yeah, it would be very spicy. JBrun did, however, find some Zeus gauntlets for his ninja, so that's fun. I'm just going to take a moment and peek these objectives. Maybe you can take them out if they're soft, but if not, at least you know what challenges you're facing when you come back to the moon, so you get a good idea of what power level you need to be at, and maybe some particulars that you might want to keep in mind to acquire while you're on Earth.
And not only that, this is the only flag set in the Eidolon Express Grand Prix where the bosses are not on a chaos or maybe setting, so you're only going to see these bosses once. So every time you see one of these, you know they're out of the pool. We'll come back for the vaudeville shtick between Dr. Luge and Balnab later.
And JBrun's not going to loot the Crystal Palace. It's the boss info, so I'd expect to see a trip over to Cave Bahamut to check that last boss.
Yeah, I'm not terribly surprised by that because, did get Zeus gauntlets, did get a ninja sword, is in pretty good shape. The Stardust Rod has enough money for the spoon, so is in pretty good shape as far as equipment. And honestly, we're probably going to see a lot of this equipment for the entire seed on JBrun's side.
Yep. Came with an assassin knife and gives him a protect ring to keep him going. But on second thought, how about that Zeus gauntlet since Eddie can't wear it? Yeah, there we go. That's
Yeah.
Next.
Might be gearing up for that Procleote and Jucleote chest, the colloquially known hairdryer's chest here, to try and get some early experience and also do an early key item check.
Let's see that early hourglass. Also had 2 hourglasses in the starter kit. So. Wait, no. 3 in the starter kit. ScytheMarshall has 4. ScytheMarshall is the one that needed that for an hourglass.
Yeah, that is correct, which is nice to have in hand because, ScytheMarshall does have the option of taking some of the lunar monster boxes as well. Won't be able to get any key items out of them because it's only the overworld, the Giant of Babel, or the hairdryer chest, but could still get some really strong equipment and a lot of experience.
Yeah, and a decent chunk of gold too to chase that 500,000. All very
Yeah,
nice.
that's another good point.
Is that Antlion White Spear Altar?
Yep.
Okay.
So
Antlion
not required.
Is natural.
Yeah, these runners could potentially have gotten more lunar objectives as in that 4 of 6 flag set in Objective Group A Instead, the Darkness Crystal does gate that Giant of Babel objective, which that would be, probably not too bad considering these runners are going to be getting a ton of experience here as they get rolling in this seed. In 5.0 Alpha, there are a number of experience modifiers, and this flag set can get those experience modifiers all the way up to 4 times experience.
Factoring for the hairdryer's chest, as we like to call it here. ScytheMarshall is an interesting move. Is turning on random encounters. I think ScytheMarshall is looking for a trigger.
Could be. That's probably the easiest encounter here, or at least anything. Not happy with what the options here were, unfortunately. But could he use that hourglass to get some experience from there too?
Yeah, a couple of tries. Didn't like what he saw. Went on his way. JBrun actually is not going to. Okay, Bahamut just goes to hairdryers and is on their way, unless they missed it when they went.
No, I don't believe he did. No.
Okay.
So
Scythe will give us the look.
So here at Baron Inn, gonna see Kane having dinner with Asura and go home with a collection of dancing daggers for his troubles at least. So we don't have anything to take advantage of Asura's mage weakness, but Zeus gauntlets, Assassin's Dagger, and Ninja Sword, not gonna make that too hard to spot.
And here we have a bygone, so it's an awfully slow spot here, so even if this grimoire doesn't roll big enough to take out the main body, it'll at least lock the arms down and buy us some time.
Yeah, getting through a good chunk of that HP already, so off to a good start.
And this Quake, because it was cast only with the arms down, is only going to hit the body.
There we go. ScytheMarshall getting the counter he's looking for here in Cave Bahamut, getting that Warlock down and getting a nice chunk of experience there. And as JBrun does get through that bygone fight, will not be able to take the cane, but we'll get a nice ninja shirt for his troubles.
That is some amazing defensive gear that can only be worn by a ninja. But just survivability goes way, way up if he's wearing that.
You know what else helps survivability, though? That crystal ring that ScytheMarshall just pulled from Cave Bahamut, as well as a silver apple.
We have some sort of sparkle here. We don't much care which one.
That'll be a problem for future ScytheMarshall and JBrun.
JBrun has located life potions in the shop. They are much more expensive than they used to be at 600 gold piece a pop because they're darn useful, not just for getting people up, but for throwing out a life potion.
Yeah, that was one of those changes that was made that I wasn't sure about when it was announced, but as I got used to it, it's like, no, this really does make sense because of just how powerful these are. You want to make sure that they're a little bit more of an investment rather than just something you can do willy-nilly.
Yeah, as it used to be, you just show up and you bought 40 life potions without even thinking about the impact and you called it a day. And now it's like, especially on a flag set like this where money is gearing you towards some very useful things.
So JBrun is in Castle Eidolon now, doing some of the looting that ScytheMarshall did, but also in a position where he can take on these monster boxes, and yeah, and pretty good defensive gear from that from what he did do in the lunar subterrane, and now able to just kind of clean this up. Meanwhile, it looks like ScytheMarshall's getting ready to buy a spoon.
Yeah, get that spoon. If you're going to turn down Edge, you better have some kind of an answer, and yeah, you're clearly going to really impressed by that spoon. I wonder if Scythe will take Kane at Baron. And
yeah, that's a good question. We didn't really see anything for Kane. We actually saw more for the Edge on the moon than we did Kane. We didn't get a defense sword. We didn't get any of those fancy spears of his. We didn't find the remote chance of an Avenger even. So, I think the best he has is that rune axe that JBrun just found.
Well, he's going to Hobbs first anyway, so he'll see that. Yeah, Rob Sat letting us know there's a Gungear in play. It's not,
it's good.
Not quite an ace tier, but, it's at least a king.
It's something that you're happy to have, especially in the early to mid game, but you're hoping to find a Dragoon Spear or a White Spear sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Who is the character here on Hobbs? Why, it's the twin.
Hey.
Twin sister Porn. I bet this is a take.
Yep. And so ScytheMarshall going with the balanced strategy that you had discussed, having a white mage, a black mage, and a melee attacker. Meanwhile, JBrun will be going with that hero black mage and have 2 melee attackers to help out. So we'll see which one this seed says is the better option here. Does get a Moonveil for the Black Hat Lamia chest for JBrun.
ScytheMarshall picks up a Mutant Knight, but will not excite him as much because he already has a spoon. But if and when JBrun gets around to checking Hobbs, if he takes I don't think so. I think JBrun just says, why would I bother with this fight, even if I check it at all? But so I don't think he's going to find that Mutant Knife, which is a shame, because that would be very useful.
Yeah, the Mutant Knife, able to take on, we talked about Asura briefly, but even these Mad Ogres are able to, are susceptible to it. A lot of our bosses have a mage weakness at some point, so it's very nice to have in your back pocket.
And the thing that makes it so beautiful for Edge is that the quadruple damage from the racial weakness affects all of his damage. So you can give him a very powerful weapon in one hand and then add the Mutant Knife for the multiplier.
Yeah, no, it's not uncommon to see near or full quad 9s for an Edge hitting one of those mages once he gets fully online.
Yeah, and with the Zeus gauntlets in hand, that'll be even more likely.
Yeah.
Well, ScytheMarshall takes care of Antlion Cave and then kicks off the Adamant Rock. 1.5 will give him Forge objective. So that's a nice get.
Yeah, meanwhile, JBrun did get a pan from Castle Eidolon, so we'll be in a situation where he can check that once he gets the magma key to go underground. So that's 2 additional. That's one additional check because K Summon is not on, but we'll be able to have that in hand.
ScytheMarshall takes a quick look in Waterfall Cave, wants to make sure Demas isn't there. We do have that flag on. In this flag set, there's no free item. With Eddie, there is just a Demas waiting to hand over an item in this village. So
we're just kind of retracing each other's steps here. ScytheMarshall Not going to be quite as happy with that ninja shirt as JBrun will be, but JBrun definitely will be happy with that adamant rock.
Yeah, but the only thing ScytheMarshall can say for the ninja shirt is money, money, money.
Yeah, no, that's a good
Hey,
point. Yeah, that is a very good point here.
All right, you over to Fabul, JBrun? Yes, you're over to Fabul. Giving us something new to look at. Maybe take a little moment now to sell your things and see what's in the shops.
Yes,
Keep
ScytheMarshall
that
wrapping
inventory
up.
trim, and you got to work towards that 500,000.
Yeah, because JBrun hasn't been to cash in at Agard just yet.
Yeah, no, this is their first selling spree, as it were.
Is that
Not everything must go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, those silver orbs not gonna be much help. All those axes, not ambidextrous speed, so nobody's gonna be able to equip those. So it does get well over that $100,000 target or gold target. Not quite curse ring money yet, though. Even after the Castle Levelin dip.
No, but also made sure to pick up 30 Cure 2s because no White Mage and no plans to Cure 3s are shown. Oh, it is not, in fact, a vanilla list.
Nope.
But we'll kill it anyway because.
Meanwhile, Fabul is being attacked by the CPU. So, good spot for this fight. Will not take too much time.
Well, ScytheMarshall ends up taking that cannon.
No, it does have the Porum, so.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it sells.
Silly me.
So does that Leviathan orb.
Yeah, more money.
Yeah, so this is kind of in line with what I was talking about earlier. Seeing some additional looting. These parties are fairly well kitted out, but they are going ahead and taking some additional looting and more out of the way places to try and take advantage of the T Wildish flag set and maximize that value. So, and it does look like we're going to have, speaking of value, ScytheMarshall's going to be looking for value in the Flame Dog chest here in the Tower of Zot.
Yeah, it could have a key item. So, Raymond Charles, if you're new, this is free enterprise, a randomizer of Final Fantasy IV. The runners are trying to complete various objectives, which are listed on the middle of the screen. Once they complete a certain number of these objectives, they will receive the crystal, which, as in the vanilla, is required to be able to actually fight Zeromus. At that point, if they feel like they're strong enough, they can head, and they have a way to get to Zeromus, then they can go take him on and win. But there are a lot of other different things that you can do with this randomizer, and there's a helpful link there in chat to go to the wiki and find out more about it. Also, there's a fun Discord, and that is full of all kinds of people that are more than happy to help you out.
Most certainly, it's always lots of people learning and discussing the game in our Discord, as well as various clubs, and obviously our tournaments such as the Eidolon Express Grand Prix, which this Hovercraft Cup final is a part of. You know what else is fun, Commander? An Earth Crystal at the Flame Dog.
Yes, it is. It's a lot of fun.
We're sitting there. We're just like, yeah, it's just like,
we're sitting here being ambassadors, and meanwhile, this Earth Crystal's showing up. But yes, it's Vanilla Magic Sisters. Good times. Vanilla. But yeah, you need the Earth Crystal to be able to fight the second boss here. So going into Zot without it is sometimes not normal, but on this flag set, it's not at all unusual to jump in here just for the flame dog. That being said, we still appreciate the irony.
Yeah, I think these runners were very much expecting to find the magma key here, but the chain will continue will probably be behind this chain, because we've seen pretty much everything but ordeals between our two runners so far. JBrun is up to Pan from the Skull Staleman chest in Castle Eblin. Found nothing on the Wool Defense. Oh, did get a pass, excuse me. So some good finds there.
JBrun gets on through. Watch out for that edge. Oh, look, it's another edge.
In case you forgot, in case you didn't grab him the first time. Oh wait, it's too late. So we'll see what's here. JBrun not bothering with the safety save. Well, ScytheMarshall taking a few seconds because this can be a very tricky spot here. There's a lot of agility and a lot of magic attacks, so appreciate wanting to take the save here.
There are other characters in the seat, right? I mean,
I think it's what Max.
This isn't just so many princes.
In theory, I think it's distinct 8, but yeah, this has definitely been the Edge, Ed, and Eddie seed.
About that safety save.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it doesn't pay off. Sometimes it's not useful.
Sometimes you run the risk with a little bit of speed, and in this case, it goes off for takeoff. That being said, I would have totally made a safety save and then seen this King Queen up on
Yeah, because, well, this spot does have increased magic attack. It does not have... The spells here with King Queen Evelyn don't really scale or gain much damage, so it's not much of a threat. And our pre-streamer and streamer Firebird Lover pointing out this is not distinct 8. Everyone is guaranteed to appear aside from Cecil, Fu, and Tella. It's just really being edge and ed forward so far.
We also won't see another Palom because Palom is the hero. JBrun is through first, and it's tower. But that takes care of that Zod objective.
And so yeah, JBrun first one to light up an objective here on the board, getting the Tower of Zod. We'll need to get 3 more from that objective set in order to complete it. Either completing objective set A or B. Whoever you get first will get the Supersmith weapon for these runners from Final Fantasy IV Advance. So something, I think that's the Triton Dagger for Palom.
Yes, that is his weapon. I don't think is it guaranteed to be the hero's weapon? You'd think I'd know.
Can't remember if he also gets the Asura Rod. He does get the Asura Rod as well, potentially.
Well, from what we've seen both runners do, we know the answer is through Orchids.
Yeah, JBrun is through that. Is through everything else here, so pretty much knows where to go. Other than I don't think he checked the Mist Cave or the waterfall, so might check those first before doing ordeals because these runners have definitely made a point of avoiding ordeals.
ScytheMarshall has not taken on the NIADs in Evelyn Castle, so naturally it's looking.
Oh no, we're getting a last arm check for JBrun here.
Is this even allowed?
I believe
there are rules in the randomizer about where your underground access is allowed to be and gating it behind certain things, and I honestly don't know if the randomizer allows for this to be the underground access.
A restreamer is saying the last arm counts as the moon as far as that logic check. So. Yeah, it will not be the logical underground.
Yes. There are some safeties involved in your underground access because of how much of the game it opens up. And there are some flags to disable those safeties, but they are not currently operational. So, safety 1 in terms of location, we're not going to make you go behind the darkness crystal to get underground because there are some very angry bosses in those sections. And safety 2, there are some bosses that even in lower powered spots are just very rude for a low powered party. Golbez, Valvalis, Wyvern, Heinazo. We're not going to make you go through those either.
Yeah, those can sometimes be brick walls for even very good runners, depending on what the seeds provide for them. So always nice to have those in place here. But it doesn't necessarily come up quite as much as far as the last arm chest, because usually with K Miab above, you're not very often you've got this. So won't be the magma key. Still could be a key item though that JBrun will be very happy to have.
Yep, and JBrun doing a good job reflecting last arm's magnet back onto it. It's a pretty straightforward fight. And it's not a key item, but it's a Bacchus. Oh, this isn't just a key item check. JBrun, while he's here, is at least going to take a look at this boss, and if it's somehow super free, we could have a cheeky bit of XP and GP right here.
Yeah, I do think that JBrun didn't. That's doable.
This is doable. Yeah, Robsat, you'd be surprised what things actually are floating and what things actually aren't. CPU, not floating. Mylon Z, floating. Tricker, not floating.
So JBrun is going to take this Bahamut fight as ScytheMarshall goes through Castle Eidolon. Does have that pan. Is there. We're going to see how JBrun does with this. This is a lot of HP, but only has a handful of Star Veils. So if he starts to run out of those, could be in a little bit of trouble here. But off to a good start so far, getting that HP total on Bahamut down.
Yeah, and chat letting us 65,000. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at this. We're going to reflect as much as we can, and we're going to give it a shot.
This is going to be a bunch of experience here, and JBrun has been accumulating experience multipliers with every key item check and that Tower of Zod objective completed. I don't think, as well as the ones for turning in gold into Dr. Tori. I don't think we've seen any of the boss objectives that you mentioned at the start of the stream light up as far as on the screen.
That one's through. We didn't really need to put a veil on it. We're getting close to that 9,000 damage cap with just having it bounce off 2. And Edward gets the XP no matter what happens.
Okay, our tracker Xenocat letting us know ScytheMarshall has done one. I'm guessing that was the Octomam in the... Oh, there go the Veils. Edward is going to be on revival duty here.
Yep, we've got 1 veil left.
Yeah, this is the one flag set where they don't give a handful, a large bundle of Star Veils at the start of it. You get a handful, but not the 9 or so you'll see in the Zontetskin circuit.
Yeah, this would be a different matter with a stack of 10 Star Veils having been purchased at a shop. The fight will pretty much be academic then, as it is. It's spacey. We're all in at this point. Just all should last for this Mega Nuke. Oh geez, it would take too long, but you could theoretically bully your way through this with some high stress.
That would be very slow because that Edward's still only doing about 1,000 damage per swing. So that would be a very slow way through this, but it might be the way that JBrun ends up finishing this if you can't get that last little bit of damage before this ball fails on edge.
Meanwhile, ScytheMarshall doing more expected play and taking on ordeals, and JBrun is through. Nicely done, nicely done.
Nicely done.
I love doing a good job counting that damage in chat. Saw it coming very well done. Very impressive.
Yeah, that was a lot of resources, but you see there that Palom now has all of his tier 3 elemental spells as well as stone. Big bunch of experience there. we'll see if he walks out or tries to do anything with this CPU spot here. A lot less HP, but a lot more offensively minded.
Oh yeah, no, we're in it to win it at this point. He's not. We didn't come here just to walk away now.
Well, ScytheMarshall doing with the seed is politely.
Oh wow! JBrun super rewarded on this giant play. Works
yeah, but he's got to heal up first.
Yeah. Works his way through Bahamut on 3-star rails and grit, and is rewarded with a water hag on the second spot. He's going to get a lot of XP to tear from everything. You know, it's always exciting to see a runner in a big race on the stream taking a gamble and paying it off. Also, Witch in chat, there's a Demas at the mirror room.
But the Demas does not have the magma key. The magma key was the legend sword item here in the lunar changing room. So will be another check for ScytheMarshall, but does have that underground access in hand. Just waiting on JBrun here to go through the cutscene. Should be able to make it through this water hag. Yeah, that was going to be the one thing I was a little worried about, was as far as the order in which the water hag hit the JBrun's party, but does get a good order here. Loses out in the experience for the Edward, but does get through the fight.
Well, if all of this looks exciting to you, these runners are always willing to put on a good show. Give them a follow for them. And ScytheMarshall, again, happening here for us, giving us some good stuff to comment on. Also, shout out to the production team here, Xenocat, keeping up with all of the things, the key items, the objectives, what our runners are up to, helping keep us straight in the booth. Appreciate it. FBL, man with the camera, beaming in the images from the runners' feeds directly to our Twitch feed, doing the restream, and up in the booth, as we said at the beginning, I'm Commander Leonhardt, joined by the wonderful Rowdy Sniper. Hey, that's the same brewery for the D-list.
Yeah, not anything that that is an objective. So yeah, ScytheMarshall is going to be very happy to see that. That does get him another objective. It will also be JBrun's third objective once he does that ordeals, because he's pretty much funneled to do that. And the extremely patient of runner would have gotten a Rosa instead of that Pora.
That would be asking. I guess you just have to dive ordeals with 2 characters and then go get the Rosa, the vanilla Rosa? Sure.
Yeah, you know. Not ideal, not optimal, but, you know. You do have the characters for it between that Edge or the Edward. Yeah, our tracker, though, pointing out we are 1 key item from Go mode. We just need to complete. We just need the Legend Sword or the package to be ready to go, or we need the hook and the rat tail. So yeah,
exactly. Then it just becomes a question of, do you have the power to get the job done? I know there's some sort of sparkle at Cave Bahamut. I know there's a punchy and fast Dr. Dialogue at the Masamune altar. And was it Rhythm?
Dark Elf.
Sure. No, Dark Elf. Right. Well, Dark Elf won't be as bad. Have a week by then, probably. And it's the second part of the fight's probably it makes it easier, even without it.
JBrun going to be making very fast work of a lot of parts of the seed, having a ton of experience on his characters from completing the giant. Did lose out on a lot of experience on that Edward. Edward did get knocked down before during the water hag fight at the CPU spot, so that is a bit of a concern, because that will mean that he's not going to be able to get as much HP on that Edward for that Zeromus fight.
Yeah, even with adamant armor on, going in with, say, 1600 HP is a bit of rolling the dice on those big bangs, unless you're a very good nerfer, which I can put past JBrun. There are ways to dilute the damage from those big bangs, but it isn't a guarantee. 1700, you're starting to feel better, and somewhere around 1800 or more, you're like, all right, we can dance. Still no promises, but we at least start to feel better.
So ScytheMarshall getting dropping the magma key, getting the underground opened up, also purchasing that curse ring from Dr. Tori, getting another objective for that for some experience modifiers, but most importantly, getting that wonderful agility manipulation to make some of these later fights, especially that Dr. Lugay and Balnav fight, a little bit easier.
Ooh, Cure 3 in a chest.
Hey.
Not as exciting for ScytheMarshall, given that got a white mage, but you'll take it nonetheless.
Yeah, though Cure 3 at the right time during a Dark Knight Cecil fight can be the difference between probably that Edward staying up or not. So
yeah, or maybe just hang on to it for the Z fight. I don't know. Edge. You're hoping Edward is. Edward, Edge, Edward, Edge, Edward, Edge, Edward, Edge. It's getting us all. Edward tends to like just hide from the Dark Knight Cecil.
That is true.
White shirt. That'll be exciting for, Porum. Porum likes a white shirt.
Yeah, anytime you can help get buff her willpower stat to make her healing magic more effective. Also, Porum may not have the HP total that Rosa has, but she is very good at tanking magical attacks, so that's not insignificant on a Zeromus fight.
Yeah, that's very true. We've talked about Eddie being a bit shaky with big bangs and how much you bring in, but Porum is the other way around. She's done some surprising things, and I didn't know a big man could roll that low. Well, you didn't know what it was like when it was cast on Porum, did ya?
ScytheMarshall getting the hook for the Sheila 1 and another ninja shirt for the actual pan turn-in. So as JBrun cashes in that Sand Ruby and lights up his third objective. Hook is interesting. That opens up 2 more monster boxes for ScytheMarshall, one in Cave Eidolon and one in the upper part of the Tower of Babel. I'll be curious to see. That probably is the densest play he has.
So, JBrun, about those Starveils. They were for sale in Kaipo. JBrun replenishes their supply.
Yeah, that'll be good to have for a Wyvern or a Golbez in certain, potentially.
Yeah, could very easily be a Wyvern. Okay, Mom. I think we have Witchburn.
So that,
for those of you that don't know, Wyvern normally hammers the party with a mega nuke, but there's a flag called Witchburn to make that a little easier. It makes it a variety of random attacks that replace that brutal mega nuke, but he still goes into reflecting nuke mode afterwards.
Yeah, that Witchburn can be very funny or downright scary, almost as scary as that Mega Flare.
Not wrong. There are a few classic trolls. There are some classic trolls in the other. Once upon a time, Alona wandered into a mirror room, encountered a Wyvern, and went eep! But before he could do anything, the Wyvern retreated.
Yeah, retreat Vern, explode Vern, always a good time. Not such a good time though, the fabled charm Vern. That charm on every character can be very So ScytheMarshall is checking Cave Eidolon. Meanwhile, JBrun going and checking out the Feymarch freebie. That's one thing we didn't see on ScytheMarshall's side. ScytheMarshall immediately rushed that pan they got from Castle Eidolon. So we'll see if that is an objective here for JBrun. We have seen a lot of key items already. ScytheMarshall is already at the 10 key item bonus, which I think is probably going to put that experience modifier for him at that 4 cap.
That's a good dart.
That's a very good dart.
Excalibur. It is in fact the best dart around.
That is a very powerful. That is a very powerful dart for JBrun to be able to use that edge. Dart scaling just the attack power times the level. So a very, that's what, 199 or something like that for that Excal.
Don't know off the top of my head, but it is a little bit under 200.
Yeah, not quite as strong as the spoon, but still pretty darn good.
Staleman taken down from the Staleman chest, and the reward is a cyber.
That would help ScytheMarshall try to find that Tricker earlier, but not bad to have the back pocket in case he needs an infusion of experience.
Narrowcat, there is no stronger dart than this one. This one has a maximum attack power of 255. Crystal Sword has second best attack power, but the Crystal Sword is not dartable.
Which is always frustrating in a seed where you get a whole inventory full of crystal swords and they just sit there looking pretty.
Yeah, feed them to the big joke.
Do you have a suggestion, chat, of letting Edge Dart Edward something akin to the fastball special for Colossus and Wolverine? I'm on board.
I hear there's a different randomizer where one character will throw another character around, but that's a Sasquatch.
So ScytheMarshall going in deeper into the Tower of Babel is going to take on this Mad Ogre chest here to try and get that last key item check here. The launching the Falcon is not an objective here today, so will not be doing that. Already going further, probably already has the demist defeated, so no real need.
Hey, look, when someone's got to be thrown, you do what you got to do. Chat pointing out that the Sasquatch occasionally throws itself.
Ooh, just a Sork Rope here. Not exactly what ScytheMarshall was hoping for here. Not bad gear for that Palom. I think that's best in slot for him outside of the adamant armor, but not.
That is, yeah, correct.
Yeah, not really what you're looking for, especially since I think he found a free one in the King's Bedchambers in Fabul.
I think it sells for maybe 15,000. So
yeah, that's not insignificant.
A little bit of more work towards that.
That's true. Needs about 250. Needs a total of 250,000 more gold in order to turn in that last money objective and get the admin armor. ScytheMarshall does seem to be going to Agart now. Might be at that target.
Shall see. If nothing else probably is enough for that curse string.
Already has the curse string, so this is the adamant armor. So yeah,
thank you.
Did do some selling in Cave Eidolon, and yeah, does have that wonderful piece of equipment as JBrun, kind of following ScytheMarshall's path here, going ahead and checking these two boxes. Probably will have the money for the adamant armor as well after this, but is up the entirety of the Giant of Babel.
Speaking of Giant of Babel, looks like that's where ScytheMarshall might be going. Feels ready. Understandable to wait this long. I'm gonna find out when he gets there how much sooner it could have been done.
Yeah, he is. So that's going to be good.
Hasn't bought any Starveils either, so we'll get that same interesting move. Though they still have more damage to cut through. Maybe Porum as well.
I don't know if she got that. She gets that fairly late in her spell slot. That's one of the that's one of the reasons why Rosa is one of the many reasons why Rosa is preferred to Porum. Rosa's spell list is a lot more generous with things like Wall and Cure 4. Porum does get Exit naturally, as opposed to having to earn it by doing the Earth Crystal and completing the Tower of Zot. But yeah, generally, Rosa's spells do come a little bit faster.
And our tracker Xenocat is letting us know that Porum is 11 levels shy of Wall. So, as you were saying, it takes a lot longer. That's the fun thing. They gave Porum a spell list for so many levels, but if you've played the vanilla, you know she was never intended to reach those levels.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of Palom, because Palom gets a lot of his top end spells a lot sooner than Rydia will. Even though Nuka on him is level 52, it's still 100,000 experience sooner than it would be for Rydia, but also gets Stone and Quake significantly faster.
So, if JBrun can tackle, if ScytheMarshall can tackle this giant with his power in relatively short order, then it just becomes a race to find your go. As JBrun's making these similar checks that Scythe did. We've got Dwarf Castle. We don't have a Warp Glitch. And we've got Tower with Tower Key. Given that that's 2 items, that's where I would expect our runners to go when they're done with their current tasks. Oh dear.
Ooh, that's one of the downsides of this party, that we talked about that HP total, and yeah, we'll need to reflect that magnet back onto the last arm to survive the fission attack.
Yeah, JBrun using Starveil did good effect in that fight early on, especially given his power level. Was just able to put the stop status on last arm, and so he didn't have to worry about the fission.
Yep, this time getting through, Edward doing enough damage.
It's a good thing ScytheMarshall saved before taking on that last arm. All right.
Yes. Yes. There is a time
JBrun, something we mentioned about Edge before we got started. JBrun just taking the opportunity to steal some of Bacchus.
Yeah, that can make a big difference, because with 2 melee attackers, you can see that the damage output increase that Berserk gives. It also automatically attacks, so you don't have to take the time to choose anything or choose the attack option. So it makes the character kind of clog up the active time battle queue a little bit, allowing you to kind of cheat a little bit and take more actions than you otherwise would be.
Yeah, both very important. Berserk and Blink are in a competition for being the most useful white magic spell. I give the edge to Blink, but they're both on the list. And ScytheMarshall can just cast Berserk from Porum, but JBrun does not have that option, so Bacchus is coming very, very easy.
So ScytheMarshall is taking on this Bahamut here. Is going to be in a similar situation. Doesn't have the full amount of Star Veils here, but does have a couple of different advantages here. One, he's stronger. His characters are all stronger. And 2, he's going to gain a lot more experience from this fight than JBrun did. He's got 10 key items. He's going to get that bonus. He's got more objectives completed and more key item checks. This party was supercharged under JBrun. This party is going to be going to well beyond the moon based on these fights here in the Giant.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, both of these runners are going to have to show off some skills to tackle this Z. Like, none of these characters are known for getting hit point levels that are tackled as Z. Now, granted, Mega Flare does give us more hit points than normal. You see some very silly levels. So I wouldn't be too shocked to see the twins reaching, your 2,000 plus, and our Edge will probably get there, but then Edward's staring at us like, yeah.
When's it gonna be my turn? Why are these 7-year-olds able to take a hit better than me?
It's some kind of commentary, Edward. But ScytheMarshall, with that increased power, is able to get through the Bahamut on just the initial 2 veils. And, Porum says, that wall's a fun trick. That would have been useful. Maybe I should figure out how to do that.
Yeah, that potentially could come in handy for ScytheMarshall later. But yeah, is probably going to have Palom at Nuke and Porum at Cure 4 and White levels after completing this Water Hag here, where JBrun's still not quite to that point. Looks like JBrun is getting ready to go up to the moon and tackle these moon objectives. K-Moon is on in this flag set, so the Lunar DSs will potentially have some of our key items. We are still looking for either the package, we are still looking for the Rat Tail, or the Legend Sword. So any one of these 3, and these runners will be in go mode.
Yeah, we do like to say, check your objectives and to do your freebies. Nothing worse than putting off an objective, looking for other things, only to find that the thing you were looking for was behind the objective all along. Now, we're not going to find any progression behind this Cave Bahamut, but we will get some levels and maybe a pretty piece of gear.
Yeah, and I like doing this in JBrun's shoes because you're going to this does feel like he's going to be full diving the lunar subterranean, at least until he gets his objectives done and finds that last key item, unless he finds that last key item. So it makes sense to just get this done now, and then you'll have that Super Smith item available for the rest of the lunar subterranean.
And it is a Paledem here at the Bahamut spot. This spot has an incredible physical attack power, so these punches are going to be rough on anybody that doesn't wear dragon-resistant gear, such as a crystal.
Yeah, did JBrun pick up the crystal ring on the way down? I know ScytheMarshall grabbed one in his first looting of this early on in the seed. I don't know if JBrun did any looting on the way here, because he does have that adamant armor, so probably doesn't have much incentive.
Yeah, and whoever's wearing that adamant armor, I assume it's Edward, is obviously going to be fine. You have nothing to worry about, especially in the back row. In the front row there, this is one spot that can actually hurt somebody with adamant armor, but with the protection afforded from the back row.
You can see just how high that physical attack is. That edge is very well kitted out defensively with a ninja cert, with Zeus gauntlets, and a ninja hat. So certainly not running in here unprotected and just still getting smacked pretty hard.
ScytheMarshall, I'm going to look right behind. 4 different outs now. There's a very good chance at least one of them's.
Yeah, because like you were saying earlier, there's not much left on the blue planet for these runners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 outs. A Rat Tail, a Legend Sword, or a package.
And that's also a bit of a key difference here. ScytheMarshall did get up to Nuke from that dive into from completing the Giant of Babel, so is able to do a lot more damage on those spells with Palom. JBrun's Palom using Quake to great effect, but Nuke is doing about 4 times that damage. So yeah.
If you were wondering maybe why would JBrun stick to Quake? Why wouldn't JBrun go to one of those powerful level 3 elemental spells? Well, Paledem kind of laughs at that. He absorbs. He's healed by fire, lightning, and ice, and if you hit them with one of them, he counteracts with a fairly strong elemental attack of his own.
Yeah, all the lunar bosses look at how powerful our caller Rydia is and says, we're all going to have something that punishes you for using her to her full extent.
It's true. It's true. You'll hyper here for another.
Sure, Plague does not have any counter to her summons or her black magic spells, but
everyone else has something to say about it.
ScytheMarshall taking on the hairdryers as JBrun moves on down to take care of the lunar altars at the bottom here. ScytheMarshall did get that Cave Bahamut completed, so is on par with JBrun as far as objectives. So I would assume that with those two objectives, he's going to dive straight to the bottom here. So yeah, we're going to see just how much that extra experience on these characters pays off, or if JBrun's got himself enough of a lead.
We'll see what order they choose to tackle. I would take the Dark Elf first and get those two chests. We'll see if anybody wants to jump ahead. Awesome.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense to do that check first, just because it is 2 chances getting that last key item. Then you'll know, okay, I just have to do the Masamune altar. I don't have to worry about anything else. So, even though you're still going to do the Masamune altar anyway, it's nice to know, okay, just sell out on this and get out of here.
Yeah, not very many odd objectives. Most of the odd objectives that we have here are for primary conflict.
The odd objectives are where the drama is going to be at, as far as figuring out what is going to be our last objective here. What key item is going to be go mode?
Is indeed taking on that Dark Elf. Just making good use of those stone moccasins. But Dark Elf says, you know what? Y'all need to take a break. I'm gonna hit you with these spells.
But is through the first phase. Now add to the dragon phase, which the dragon phase loses what is known as the boss bit, which gives the boss characters protection against things like weak, instant death attacks, stone, other status ailments. So yeah, JBrun's Palom having weak, able to make very short work of it, also getting a boatload of experience as well as nuke on that Palom, so fully online, but no key items here in the ribbon room.
No, a Moonveil. And if you're worried about the next fight, Moonveil would be very nice.
It'll be a way to keep the Porum up for ScytheMarshall, or the edge up for JBrun.
Mm-hmm. Well, onward. ScytheMarshall just basically one fight behind. It really isn't going to come down to the Z fight. They're going to be close enough that it's going to be a matter of not just the number of wipes. Like, this fight could be shaky enough that it just comes down to one person having to struggle and recover more, and the other person sailing through. And that, as close as our runners are, that could be the difference.
I think that's probably the more likely scenario, is just who has to spend more time readjusting and getting that party back together, even if things go not even sideways, just get a little bit rocky, because JBrun has more offensive output. Would really love to get another sword for that edge. He's still using that assassin's dagger. Would love to get like a Marasame or a Masamune to make maximum advantage of that edge's attack power. But it hasn't found those Cure 3s that he was looking for.
Direct operation. Go ahead.
Sorry, Female ScytheMarshall does have the Porum, so it's sacrificing a little bit of that damage output, but is going to be able to heal up and keep the party topped off.
Yeah, a fairly straightforward strategy for Zeromus is to have a white mage that he can cast Cure for and can weather a big bang, and now that she's up to 2,300 hit points and wearing a white shirt, she qualifies. So You just have her recover the party after the big bangs and have the party do what they can in terms of XP. And even our Edward's getting on board. Like, I talked earlier about hit point issues, but, you know, I didn't account for a level 60 some odd Edward. 2000's not bad without him if I'm wrong.
Yeah, while I'm pointing it out that I think that Water Hag ended up being worth 600,000 experience points for ScytheMarshall with all the modifiers and the bonuses. So definitely, you know, keeping that Edward up for that fight really just got him to well beyond what we normally would see for Edward here. Meanwhile, JBrun working on the second phase of this the final phase of this Dr. Luge fight, didn't get Edward up for the Water Hag, so missed out on the experience he would have gotten for that fight. So that's one of the reasons why, even though the rest of the party is in really good shape, Edward is flagging behind a little bit, and these two bosses that he's faced on the moon don't give full experience.
Well, Dragoon Spear is not a key item, but that takes care of the last moon objective, gets the Asura Rod for Palom. So we have Asura Rod at home, and it's called a Starfish Rod.
Now, if I remember correctly, the Asura Rod's other ability, though, is that it does cast Heal.
Yes.
So that could there are edge cases there where that could come into play.
Does it boost a stat other than Wisdom?
Don't believe so. I don't know about that. It may do willpower as well.
If it does, then it would, you know, help with Big Bang defense. But if not, okay. If it does boost will, then that will help
cast White
Palom's numbers when Big Bang rolls through.
I stand corrected. It casts White and not Heal. So we have Nuke on Palom. He's not going to be He's not going to be using it to throw White, but it does boost the willpower, so that is nice to have.
ScytheMarshall is through and is following JBrun to the White Spear Altar. We deal with Antlion and its natural habitat. And this is another one of our community's in-jokes. Antlion's actual natural habitat is in the cave, of course. But he just seems to keep showing up on the moon, and oftentimes with these very punchy spots, you're not happy to see.
Fortunately, we're a little bit better set up for a party here to take on the Antlion, because the Antlion will attack with that counter every time he's hit with melee attack, but both of our runners have a Palom with Nuke and a ton of Wisdom behind it, so that's going to go a long way in taking out the HP here at this White Spear Altar, which is lower than most of the spots in the lunar subterranean.
Whereas ScytheMarshall with a White caster and a Nuke caster can rely on attacks that do not trigger an effect.
Yeah, we've seen ScytheMarshall making up a lot of time so far here on this moon. Wasn't that far behind coming in, was down pretty much the entire walk, and now has basically a synchronized kill on the Antlion with JBrun. So these runners are officially neck and neck. Ooh. That could be interesting.
Okay, ScytheMarshall's bailing on the moon after these checks. Gonna head down to Earth, probably going straight to Keyless Tower, while JBrun commits to finishing the job.
Yeah, no
so this is
sword
the divergence. This is probably what makes the race now. Somebody's getting those runs for, well, it could be at both spots. It could be at both spots, Commander. Take it easy.
Yeah, no, we do have. They only have to get 4 of the 6 out of the objectives of Objective Set A. So if they find either the Rat Tail, the Legend Sword, or the package, these runners will be in go mode. So there is a possibility that they're split up between the 2 locations. Yeah, we'll be probably doing the Fey March freebie because ScytheMarshall hasn't done that, and then we'll probably do that tower key and then the top of the tower.
Yeah, this is probably a big part of what pulled Scythe back, is realizing, hey, Fey March freebie is still a thing that exists. So you don't want to leave that out there for too long. Meanwhile, JBrun just finding a plague.
Not the most threatening boss here, but
And looks like he's just going to go for burning straight through.
Yeah, at this point in time, does have the offensive output. Should be okay here.
Yeah, free X-Cal. Was awesome. You didn't know. And it was a very reasonable play.
Oh yeah, no. That you know is a relatively fast check, and it is a you know, it's one of those things that's probably been bugging ScytheMarshall for quite a while. Of I left that behind.
JBrun gets through Plague. Hey, speaking of Excaliburs, at least in JBrun's case, it's a dart.
Yeah, no, and given he's still using that assassin's dagger on his edge, I wouldn't be surprised to see that edge spending the Zeromus fight throwing those holy swords.
All right, at this point, I don't think either runner is sure. Yeah, you have to ask yourself what you do next after taking care of all of the objectives. You're in this last minute. I just need one more thing, and this is the last time you want to see things coming up remaining. Oh, the Cure 3's been found! That's huge!
It is. That really is big. That is that's going to make JBrun's Z fight much safer because now he'll have much better healing. Still not going to be able to do much as far as AoE healing, but we'll be able to get a good 1,300 to 1,500 HP back each time, so that'll be a great way to recover from those big bangs.
JBrun says, you know what? Heck this room. I'm not going to let them all over. We're just getting back down to this.
Yeah,
ScytheMarshall going to do the fate of Penguinator?
Yes.
So, Penguinator, one of the original members of this community and a very brave racer, was fond of coming in here with a tower key, taking out the very quick boss, and then immediately running out. And that's why we call this a Penguinator special.
Yeah, the lower battle is not a very popular check to make because it is a long walk to that Dr. Luge spot, and you can't exit out because the game blocks it due to plot purposes, as you're seeing on ScytheMarshall's screen. So, you know, it is a bit more of a time investment. Penguinator could be a time save. Again, we've got 3 outs, so it's certainly
very good chances. Yeah, this is a very good situation to make this play.
Oh,
not quite.
Yeah, it unfortunately will not. That is not the tail that we are looking for. So ScytheMarshall going to go ahead and check out Dwarf Castle instead, joining JBrun here.
No time to save, but that's fine. Like, you're not afraid of anything here with the power you're rocking.
Yeah, I think the only thing that might be a pain in certain is certain wyverns, but even then, I think we're pretty well equipped to take on that threat.
I didn't. The runners did. The bomb bombers picked. Oh, it's a vanilla radio that we can't take.
That's fine. We only found Leviathan Orb and a Nasser Orb for him, so weren't able to fully take advantage of her spell list.
Wake, be gone with you.
Again, ScytheMarshall getting through these fights a little bit faster than JBrun overall.
Yeah, I give the edge to ScytheMarshall just for having a powerful plan for the Z fight. He's just going to be able to lean on that and relax and just work through. JBrun, though, being able to dart that Excalibur, might be able to get more of a damage push. Especially if a couple of these zonks keep putting more good darts in the inventory. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Oh no, that is not what JBrun wanted to see in this situation. So JBrun hasn't done the tower key, hasn't done top of tower.
Has not.
ScytheMarshall, though, has kind of committed to whatever is here in Dwarf Castle and is going to have a very long check facing him with that twin harp. We're all going to be happy because we might get to hear some fancy music.
Yeah. Let's see what ScytheMarshall chooses to do, whether they say, you know what, twin harp is silly, I'm going to top of tower.
Gosh, normally I would say you commit to your fades, but that is an instance where you might change your mind because our tracker Xenocap pointing out top of tower and twin harp will lead to an objective. Now they could be gated still. The Baron key could lead to one of our items. Could be a Luca key as well that could lead to those things. There are nasty chains that still exist here.
Yeah, you'll get there eventually, following whatever path you choose. But at what cost?
Nobody ever checked Marasime Altar, so we've got that out there as well.
There has not been. So it's possible. It's possible, I think. I don't think there's enough of a chain for it to hold all three, though, behind the Baron and the Luca. But
no, one of them will have to be one of them will have to be away from that chain.
Yeah, one of these two has to get us there, if not immediately. JBrun finding an Odin at the top of the tower. This won't be a problem. It's going to be taken out before it can even throw its special attack, but even if it does, the magic power here is so weak that it's survivable.
Yeah, earlier in the game, this would have been a bit of a headache because of the physical attack at the spot, but not to mention it's got fairly high HP total, and we didn't really have much of a way to deal with that, but not a concern here for JBrun here. Like I said, most of these boss fights here are going to be pretty trivial. It's just going to be a matter of routing at this point to see who walks away with the Hovercraft Cup here.
Yeah, I can put 2 objectives on a chain.
That was a life staff for JBrun.
Yeah, no, the Zantetsuken is based off of magic, but there are physical attacks in the rotation before you get to that. And those physical attacks could have been a problem.
So we will be taking a bit of a break here as ScytheMarshall is in the Cave Magnus, and as DJ Spoony B makes his heroic march over to his harp, he'll be playing one of many community-created songs here that have been randomized, so we will be quiet and let you enjoy. All right, ScytheMarshall is through. Does get the rat tail after going through the gauntlet and hearing more of the main theme from River City Ransom than he would have liked to have heard. But that is go mode for ScytheMarshall. JBrun coming in right behind the big thing. You know, that top of tower check, very reasonable play. You were there, but not having the answer. Marasme Altar will be a path to our other objective, one of our other objectives, though.
Yeah, and we'll get the full breakdown of that path once the credits roll. We'll get to see where all the key items are. This rat tail turn-in might be more of a shame, or it just might be dug here with a... Who knows? We'll see.
So there is that rat tail turn-in. There is the objective. ScytheMarshall getting the crystal. We'll hopefully see that final item, right before we go in there, as we are going to get a reprise of our harp music, as ScytheMarshall getting the Baron key, which could very easily have one of our items. So here we go. We'll go from there. And that does it for the gauntlet and the music on JBrun's side. We are in the Zeromus fight on ScytheMarshall. We didn't get a chance to do our usual spiel on whose butt we're going to get kicked, but we have seen our randomized Zeromus sprite here. ScytheMarshall has seen the first big bang and is now reflecting nukes onto this Z here. Trying to just, and I think that Edward is zerked, so is going to be just trying to pour on the damage here. We'll see if he tries to nerf this Big Bang to reset Zeromus' spell power to make it weaker, but does seem to just be kind of relying on the power and the levels.
Yeah. if you can survive an unnerfed big wing, it can sometimes be nice at trying to nerf. You eat a direct nuke for trying, and if your timing is off, you can just stack that onto a nerfed big bang for your trouble.
And yeah, no, I have definitely been burned by that. Oh, let's be safe and nerf. Oh, even though it was nerfed, the nuke ended up hurting. The counter nuke ended up hurting me in the long run. So no, that's a very good point.
Yeah, but it seems to be marching through just fine. Looks like it's dealt enough damage to tip into phase 2, and thus avoid the big bang that is threatened.
Yeah, those reflected spells are being... The ScytheMarshall reflecting those spells to avoid those aforementioned counter nukes, and is already through. Very nice. Very nice Z-fight with ScytheMarshall.
I think that might have been a skip, actually. I wasn't tracking the damage perfectly, but the reflected damage doesn't trigger the phase shift, and if he was low enough on HP when that spoon stab came through, then the phase shift would have happened. That might have been what took place there, but regardless, GG, well done, ScytheMarshall.
Yeah,
while I'm letting us know, no, not a skip, just tore through phases 1 and 2, just that.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what those final levels are. I think ScytheMarshall's characters are well into the 60s as far as levels, so their stats are
definitely
eye-popping.
Yeah, I glanced at one point. It was 62, so... Yeah.
Oh, jeez. So yeah, no.
Now.
So JBrun, meanwhile, is getting ready to enter into the Zeromus fight. Still a very good time for JBrun here. Just a matter of a little bit of routing, doing that top of tower check, kind of being the big time difference here.
Yeah, that is ultimately what it came down to, is after clearing the objectives and doing all of the straightforward things, you just had to guess where to go, and the fastest answer available was either Mura Altar, which we haven't seen yet, which both our runners did, or it was what was found here, Dwarf the Death Hunter.
Yeah, but really, the only thing that Mura Altar could have been is a bit of it could have been the Luca key that would have led to either the Legend Sword or the package, because Baron key only has the one key item check in this flag set. So yeah, it would have been a path.
Yeah, fastest possible path, Legend Sword. Slowest path, Luca in the package.
Yeah, probably would have been a little bit faster doing that gauntlet, though.
Yeah, faster than the gauntlet, because for the package, it's not just enough to burn the village. You have to walk to the Kaipo, you have to sleep at the inn, you have to have the people walk in and do the fight, and you have to wake up the next day. So it's not as long as a gauntlet at Twin Mark, but it's not fast either.
No. But ScytheMarshall has won the Hovercraft Cup here, so big congratulations to him there with that. That's a lot of very good runners. GG indeed. A lot of very good runners participated in this side tournament here for the Eidolon Express Grand Prix. So yeah, very nice to walk away with that.
And ScytheMarshall may or may not be joining us from interview, but if so, ScytheMarshall isn't able to join us by voice, but can receive the questions by text, and our tracker, Xenacat, will fill it. They will read his answers aloud at that time. We shall see if that takes place. Interviews are, of course, completely optional, never mandatory or required.
Yeah, it's always fun to be able to hear where these runners were thinking as far as their thought process and everything, or how they approach the seed, because you can learn a lot from them. But hey, it's been an hour and 22 minutes, high pressure, high stress. I can totally understand wanting to go lay down.
Sure. Oh, and now we are indeed joined by ScytheMarshall. GG, and Rowdy, take it away.
GG, ScytheMarshall. So let's talk from the beginning. You had the option for the edge early on. You decided to hold off and wait for another option. Were you looking for that white mage, or was there another melee character you were potentially going to take?
Scythe says definitely a white mage. I haven't run a lot of no white mage seeds, so
You were rewarded with that. You were rewarded with getting that Porum on Mount Hobbs, which was a nice find. What was the plan after? What was the plan after that? You were trying to avoid that ordeals, and finally, until the seed kind of said, "Here's where you got to go." What kind of took you from there?
Well, aside from fading ordeals, Scythe was looking to clear checks as quickly as possible in the overworld and get to where he could loot a bit more for the adamant. Hopefully along the way, find the go mode items, which sort of happened.
Yeah, the rat tail kind of tried to hide from you a little bit. When as the sea progressed, you had the option to go ahead and complete all of the lower Tower of Babel, but you decided to do the Penguinator special and just take the tower key. Was that a plan thing? Was that a plan thing, or what pushed that decision? Because that ended up being a big decision point.
Penguinator was a gamble, pure and simple. JBrun's really quick, even on flags he's not super comfortable with, which these ones are not JBrun's preferred flag set, so Scythe made a choice. Scythe's wondering what's up there.
That would have been a life staff, so not a key, not an item. That would either one of you were looking for at that point.
Yep. Good.
You also decided to pass on the Marasme, the Crystal Sword altar and the Marasme altar. Is that again part of that? Was that one of the gambles that you were making as far as time, just doing the lunar objectives?
Scythe says thinks the Crystal Sword altar fade was a mistake, but if that had been Gauntlet or Val or something or Rough, maybe it could have been good, but it could have also been really fast.
Okay, Commander, any questions for ScytheMarshall?
No, Just one. So you quite reasonably waited until you had considerably more power before going to the gauntlet. So did you have any feels about seeing a relatively free Bahamut and Waterhide there, or were you still content?
I mean, you never really expect free giant bosses. Going up there super early would have been a riot, but also kind of slow, and Scythe wouldn't have had the Veils for Bahamut at that power level.
Yeah, completely fair. That's all I've got. GG. Congratulations on winning the Hovercraft Cup and on running a fantastic race for us.
Oh, also, before Scythe leaves the interview, 4 times experience is very broken.
Yes, it is. That was a big point as well. That you had that multiplier. So
Yeah, why go early when you can get 4 times experience?
2,300 hit points on poor engage must be broken.
yeah, we did, and that did allow you to catch up to JBrun quite a bit as far on the moon itself. So that did come into play. So
yeah, worked out.
Oh, Scythe is definitely looking forward to watching this one back.
It'll definitely be worth watching that.
oh, for sure.
It's
a very good race to decide the Hovercraft Cup here.
Anyway, thanks to everyone on the Restream crew, GG's again to JBrun, and everyone who played in the Hovercraft Cup.
And GG's to you as well, ScytheMarshall. Congratulations on claiming the Hovercraft Cup here as part of the Eidolon Express Grand Prix.
And we're joined now by JBrun. GG also entranced by all of these hovercrafts on your screen. And I can't help it.
Just a little something to add, you know.
That's great.
Oh boy.
So your thoughts on that seed here? Your takeaway here. That was a bit of a groan there.
I thought my giant play was going to be like genius.
It was exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it was either going to make it or like just destroy my run doing it that early on. And I don't know when Scythe did it, but I assume later. I mean,
Scythe
probably
did
faster.
It much later when he had maxed out the XP multiplier with it before coming up to the moon. Which was right around the same time you went back to the moon.
Alright. Yeah, and so overall though, aside from hitting like all of the zonks on the moon, yeah, I mean it was good overall. Really enjoyed the flag set, and the seat was good.
Yeah, in hindsight, there were, from watching the credit roll, there were 2 outs. One of which is what you and Scythe both took, the Dwarf to Twin Heart to Rat Tail. The other option was to fetch the Luca key from the Murrah altar and find the package down in the Sealed Cave. Which, even in hindsight, based on just the key items, is the toss-up. I think the Gauntlet of the Twin Heart is the deciding factor there.
Yeah, the gauntlet right before getting go mode. That's
Yeah.
salt in the wound.
It meant though that because you got to the gauntlet right around the time that ScytheMarshall finished it, which meant that we did not get our customary spiel about Z because we were too busy listening to that awesome River City Ransom music. Saw you do a little dance there at the end.
Yeah. It's good music. Yeah, I like that one.
So one other difference between the two, you decided to take the edge for that offense. Is that something that you've been practicing as far as a more melee focused party, or was that just a case of let's just take the first ones and get the experience rolling on these characters, or some other strategy there?
If I had gotten a siren and I took the edge, then I could have done pink puffs straight off and just started the seed. Like, whole bunch of XP, whole bunch of money. And not have to worry about looting as much. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. But, I mean, I like an edge on this flag side. If he doesn't get weapons himself, there's always usually some spears or a sword or two to toss around. So it can still be useful.
And the ninja sword early was a bit exciting, and then after that the siege said, okay.
Yep, that was enough. He's cut off now. Yeah, ninja sword, assassin dagger, most of the seed. Or was it dancing dagger? I don't know. Something not up to par.
Yeah.
Which you certainly made good use of the tools the seed did give you here. You know, getting through a Mega Flare rally seed in under an hour and a half is still an excellent time. So, very nicely run on that. Yeah,
the 2 Cs I did early this morning were like 115-ish. So I felt pretty good going into it. Starting on a high note, I guess. But yeah, anything under 90 minutes is doing pretty well.
Especially considering the trolls at the end of it.
True, very true.
Commander, any other questions for JBrun here?
So you come back down to Earth and you bail on. You took the crystal sword altar, and then after that decided, no, I don't have time for the Mura altar. Feeling some time pressure, or was that always the plan? Like, hey, I can get to the crystal sword real quick, but Mura is just a step too far.
Yeah, and having to do the warp into the LST again. It was a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
Given all of the zongs that happened on the moon already at that point, I thought, maybe mathematically it was a decent play.
And I think we're on K unweighted, so the old saw about, there's at least X number of chicks on the moon, I don't think it applies here. So it was just as reasonable to play as any other under the circumstances.
That makes sense.
But no, that's about all I've got. Just GG's. Thanks for putting on the wonderful show for us, and some fun little hovercrafts there at the end.
My pleasure.
Yep, and again, congratulations as well on winning the Zontetskin circuit async to get into this final. So very nicely done there. So yeah, GG JBrun, thank you very much.
Right, thank you. And I'm gonna watch this back probably right now. See like how everything played out between us. So thank you all for the commentary. FBL for the stream, and I think Xeno on tracking. Yep. And then of course ScytheMarshall, so good at the game. Knowledge is unparalleled. Frankly, I'm happy being within like 6 minutes of him. So good times. See you all in the next tournament, whenever that's coming up.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you there.
All right, have a good night, guys.
All right, night, JBrun, GG. Thank you for joining us.
All right. So if you aren't already, give both of these wonderful runners a follow. You'll see a lot of high-level play, game knowledge dropped, fun production values from JBrun, spicy moves. It'll be a good time. So check them out. That, of course, is all we have here for this Hovercraft Cup, but we have more Eidolon Express Grand Prix action. All right, Roddy?
We do. We are going to be joining Game 3 of one of our semifinals match between Coffee and Chocobos and Matic over on our main channel, which is in progress. So they've been going at it for about 53 minutes now in a Tsunami Open flag set. So we will be joining them in just a few moments here. Thank you very much for enjoying the Hovercraft Cup finals, for Xenocat tracking, for Fighter Lover handling the restream, and of course, always a pleasure to be working with you, Commander Leonhard, here in the booth. I'm Roddy Sniper. Thank you and good night.
Pleasure to be working with you, Roddy, as well. We got to work more wrestling puns in next time. And yes, I'm aware we got cut off and that didn't get said.
That's fine, yeah.